Constantinople was destined to become a major center of the world, and in 1453, it was the target of an attack by 23 troops, which was unsuccessful. Roman Emperor Constantine X and Ottoman Sultan Mehmed engaged in a significant battle for control of the city. The Ottomans, longtime enemies of the Romans, were led by Mehmed, who had established a powerful empire within Anatolia and threatened the reign of the young sultan. His uncle, Shehzador Khan, was held captive by the Romans and responded to the announcement of the construction of a fortress by Mehmed on Roman territory. This strategic location on the European side of the Bosphorus cut off supplies and military support from Roman allies in the Black Sea, earning the fortress the ominous name Sultan Mehmed's Cut. Mehmed assembled an army and ultimately conquered Constantinople, solidifying his position as ruler. 80,000 troops were prepared to march on Constantinople. Mehmed's forces swiftly captured and destroyed any remaining outposts near Constantinople. In 3 months, the Hungarian engineer Urban constructed a cannon for Sultan Mehmed. This 8-barreled cannon, known as the Batsi, had the potential to destroy Constantinople's walls. However, Emperor Constantine possessed his own secret weapon in the form of the Genoese mercenary Giovanni Giustiniano Longo, a brave warrior renowned for defending fortified cities and walls. Although there were slightly fewer than 7,000 soldiers in Constantinople, Emperor Constantine hoped to receive support from European allies. Mehmed, on the other hand, had a formidable army consisting of fierce warriors known as janissaries, formerly Christian slaves who had converted to Islam and been trained as an elite force. On April 2nd, the Ottoman army under Sultan Mehmed arrived at the outskirts of Constantinople. On April 6, 1453, Sultan Mehmed dispatched a message to Emperor Constantine. In 1453, the emperor refused a final offer to surrender Constantinople, guaranteeing the safety of all residents and their property. Sultan Mehmed II of the Ottoman Empire launched a massive artillery attack on the city, unlike anything the world had seen before. Giovanni Giustiniani, commander of the defense, led his forces in defending 22 kilometers, approximate 13 miles of walls that had been built by Emperor Theodosius II in the 5th century. These walls were among the strongest structures of their time. One of the key elements of Mehmed's strategy was the use of 8-man bombardment teams to target the city's walls. Despite significant damage to the city, the Ottoman artillery continued to stand, trapping the imperial forces behind the walls. To break the siege, Giustiniani launched counterattacks on Mehmed's forces outside the walls. He used the element of surprise and the ferocity of short-term attacks to disrupt the siege. The Ottomans were taken aback to find the battlefield littered with the bodies of deceased and dying soldiers. Time was of the essence, as each passing day presented a new challenge. Mehmed's adversaries could attack his forces from both the east and west. The expectation was that the Pope would dispatch reinforcements from Europe to aid within the city, while his men continued to reinforce the walls and tend to the wounded. With every passing day, the likelihood of capturing Constantinople diminished, yet the walls remained standing. The battle for Constantinople unfolded on multiple fronts, making it the most fortified city of the medieval period. However, gaps existed in its defenses, with weak and ill-protected walls along the Golden Horn Inlet. At the mouth of the Golden Horn, only one line of defense existed, a thick iron chain approximately 1 kilometer in length. Sultan Mehmed had studied 23 previous unsuccessful sieges in which control of the sea had been crucial. Victory was not achieved for his new fleet of 126 vessels, which had been protected by the Golden Horn for several weeks. In the middle of April, the Ottomans became aware of the Genoese warships dispatched by the Pope and approaching the Mediterranean Sea. The individual tasked with stopping them was the esteemed admiral, Sultan Mehmed Suleiman Baltasar, who was ordered to prevent the Genoese from reaching Constantinople. On April 20th, the vessels entered the Sea of Marmara and collided with the Ottoman naval blockade. Ottoman warships increased their speed to bring archers close enough to fire upon the Genoan vessels without wind assistance. The galleon sails had fallen, allowing the Ottomans easier access to board them. However, attempts by Ottoman soldiers to board the galleys were unsuccessful due to the unpredictable winds of the Marmara Sea favoring the Genoans by filling their sails. Only 4 of the ships managed to make it to Constantinople. The siege of Constantinople reached a stalemate. Sultan Mehmed understood that capturing the city could only be achieved if he managed to reach the Golden Horn, and therefore devised a clever plan to transport ships from the Bosphorus to the Golden Horn by bypassing the chain protecting it. On April 7, 22 vessels were dragged through nearly 2 kilometers of woodland surrounding the Genoese settlement of Galata. Sultan Mehmed's strategy altered the course of the siege as the Romans became vulnerable. This development was significant, as the Roman forces were already spread thin, with fewer than 7,000 soldiers defending a 20 kilometers wall, and additional Ottoman vessels appeared in the harbor. They had to defend 5 kilometers of the wall from the sea, further depleting their resources. On the night of April 28th, the Romans executed a covert operation to destroy Ottoman vessels in the Golden Horn. Alerted by the attack, the Ottomans prepared to counter it. With cannon fire, the news of the unsuccessful attack shocked Constantinople. In the following weeks, Sultan Mehmed's forces attempted repeatedly to capture the city. Despite the damaged walls that remained standing, and the efforts of the troops of Giovanni Giustiniano Longa, all attacks were repelled. At the same time, the defenders of the city were weary, the walls were crumbling, and supplies were running low. There was not enough money left in the city treasury, and the soldiers, including those who were hired as mercenaries, were desperate for payment. In a last-ditch effort, Emperor Constantine ordered religious artifacts to be melted and used to mint coins. The Venetian navy was preparing to set sail to Constantinople in order to assist the Romans. Vizier Sultan Mehmed Charla Khalil Pasha attempted to negotiate a truce. However, Mehmed was determined and prepared his army for a final battle on May 29th. In 1453, Sultan Mehmed ordered his artillery to intensify the bombardment on the remaining defenders. The defenders were weakened and retreated to a position between the outer and inner walls near the gates of St. Romanus. The Sultan sent Bashibazuk warriors, whose name literally means, tear off their heads, to attack. These fierce and unpredictable volunteer soldiers suffered heavy casualties in the initial assault, but they continued to fight. Mehmed sent additional units, but after 4 hours of combat, the defenders still held the upper hand. The legendary Janissary troops were the final hope for capturing Constantinople. The course of the battle shifted as the Janissaries advanced towards the gate. The relentless approach of the St. Romanos began to wear down Giusti's forces, forcing him to withdraw to the city walls. The people of Constantinople became alarmed as the Janissaries drew near. In the year 1453, Giovanni approached the gates of St. Romanus. The outer walls had crumbled, leaving the defense shaken as the Ottomans poured through the openings. Emperor Constantine X, watching the Turks breach the city, faced a formidable force. However, he did not flee. Instead, he plunged into the heart of the battle and was never seen again on May 29th. Sultan Mehmed II, only 21 years of age, entered Constantinople in 1453. He proclaimed himself emperor and the new Roman Caesar, and the Ottomans would forever remember him as the conqueror Fatih. He brought an end to the Roman Empire at a young age of 21, and Constantinople became known as Istanbul. Located at the intersection of 2 seas and continents, this city resembled a precious jewel, a diamond surrounded by 2 sapphires and emeralds, forming the most valuable ring that covered the entire world.